Hey there gang, I am back with another unboxing video. I'm gonna crack into this box and do a little grading for sale on eBay. And as always, I have absolutely no idea what might be in this box. Could be Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze, Copper, Modern, anything. Never know. So I invite you to come along with me, have a little bit of fun in the act of discovery as we delve into some four-color wonders. Stick around, we're gonna have some fun. Hey there, Bubby. Welcome to Shanghai. My name is Duke, and this is another unboxing video. Now, let me just give the spiel real quick. These are not my books. I am grading them for sale on eBay. The seller name is Dotcomcomics. And of course, while I don't know what is in this box, what has been sorted and put on my desk to grade, I do know that it's going to fall within a couple of sort of mileposts, if you will. There shouldn't be any junk in here. That stuff's been sorted out for sale in multi-book lots, and there won't be any really big books. So don't get excited. You're not going to see a Superman #1, at least not the Golden Age Superman #1. Those kind of books have already gone off to CGC. But let's break in, see what we do have. And this very first book right on top is kind of weird. I don't know what this is. Weasel? Some kind of independent book. I have never seen that. I have no idea what that could be. Is that probably a Fantagraphics book? It's a different size too. It looks like it might be adult. You know what? Let's take a look inside. Let's just see what we've got here. And warning, this could be adult content. That is a weird thing. I have no idea. Huh. Well, there you go. Right off the bat, there's something different. What else we got here? The Amazing Spider-Man #1. So what is this? The second or third #1? Looks like a John Byrne cover. Spawn 75. Silver Surfer 146, explosive final issue. Must be valuable because we've got two of them here. This looks like a Vampirilla Lady Death, so this is pure 90s grim and gritty. It's probably Chaos Comics. Uncanny X-Men 222. Batman Adventures, oh no, Batman The New Adventures. This is Batman number 408, and this is the issue, the infamous issue, after the Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they remade Jason Todd. This is Jason Todd. Originally, his origin was very much like that of Dick Grayson, a former circus performer, but they let Max Allan Collins turn him into a street punk for the new continuity, and so he came across Batman when he was trying to boost the tires off the Batmobile. It's a weird cover. The kid, Jason Todd, isn't really in proportion. And also, this Batman would never fit in that car. That's not in proportion either. So it's just a weird cover. And from this point on, I hated Jason Todd. I used to like Jason Todd, but I hated him from this point on. Here's X-Men 108, 103, 102. So those will be pretty valuable. Tank Girl, number 2 of 4. Tank Girl, number 4 of 4. Tank Girl is currently appearing. There's a couple of books in here. So yeah, we've got 3. So have we got one here? I don't think we've got one. Got just 2, 3, and 4. Tank Girl is currently appearing in Albatross Funny Books, the Eric Powell company, Eric Powell of Goon fame. And there's a current Tank Girl series going on there. USAGI Yojimbo, number 8. Fantagraphics. Number 7. number 6. Now, it must be a Mandela effect because I think he's still alive, but I swear to you, I remember reading within the last year or so reports that Stan Sakai, the creator of USAGI, had died. But I guess I imagined it, and he's still around. There's USAGI number 3. That's cool. What else we got here? Let's dig into the next stack. Be interesting if we've got a number 1. Oh, we're back up to number 9. Number 10 with some turtles. There's number 2. I don't think we're going to have number 1 though, because now we're on to Dark Knight Returns number 2. And when I get around to grading that, I'll have to check and see if that's a first print or not. Amazing Spider-Man 169. You'll remember we had a big run of Amazing Spider-Man in the last box. There's 170. 171 with Nova. 173 with Molten Man. Some of these books we saw in that last box. 155, 156. Let's get some of these kind of out of the way a little bit. There's a Doc Ock cover. That's a nice cover. 157. 158. These are some weird bags. They're too big for the book. They're Golden Age bags. 159. There's 221. We see about a dozen of those. And there's 2 of them in there. What's that second book? Every box I get has got 1 or 2 or 3 of them in here, and there's 2. So, if you need an Uncanny X-Men, number 221, you know where to go. Sometime within the next couple of weeks, you'll see a whole batch of them coming on. X Factor number 24. Now here we go. The second, or should I say third appearance of the new X-Men, X-Men 95. I believe this is the death of Thunderbird. 96. 97, the return of Havoc. 98, Sentinels. 99, are we going to have 100? We do. Look at that. X-Men number 100. At last, the spectacular 100th issue of the new X-Men versus the old X-Men. All right. Looks like this next stack's got more X-Men. There's 101, where Jean Grey has become the Phoenix. Did I say 101? That's 105. So she's been Phoenix for a couple of issues anyway. Here's 106. 107. The Starjammers. And I think it's also, this one's not good. This one isn't going to be a single. Yeah, that's water damaged pretty hard. I'll probably put that in a lot. Batman, number 215. 206. Swamp Thing number 7 with Batman. So that one goes up a little higher than the average Swamp Thing issue. And it did firmly affix Swamp Thing in the DC universe. Up until that point, there might have been some question as to whether he existed in his own continuity or not. Here is the Western Ghost Rider, issue 6. Oh my goodness! Have you seen this before? Captain Marvel. Is this the first issue? I think it is. That guy looks like Stan Lee. So anyway, maybe you've heard this story, maybe you haven't, and let's see how much of it I can remember in the retelling. So Captain Marvel, of course, you probably know, was originally, that's the character we know today as Shazam. His original name was Captain Marvel, and he appeared all through the Golden Age, most of which the publisher, Fawcett, was fighting a battle in the courts against DC Comics because it sued for infringement upon the Superman character. I think it's arguable just how much Captain Marvel was an infringement. In my mind, they were pretty different characters. But back then, when superheroes were new, pretty much anybody who wore his underwear on the outside and had a certain power set could be argued to be a swipe. And DC was pretty notorious for going after anybody that seemed too much like Superman, because Superman was their cash cow. So anyway, around 1954 or so, comic sales, they're in fast decline. And then the fight, the parental fight against comic books is kind of rising as people are claiming they cause juvenile delinquency. And there's a lot of excess in the horror genre of comic books. And so Fawcett just decided, you know what, screw it. Let's get out of this business. And they just sort of folded their tent. And back then, nobody knew that comic books were going to be a big thing. Sure, Superman was, and there was some merchandising and movie serials and things like that. But, they were treated more like, the Sunday funnies. They didn't really think they were going to be anything worth, reprinting decades in the future. So they kind of let the copyright on Captain Marvel lapse, both the character and the name, or, at least the name. And so what year is this book? Well, it's 1966. And the guy's name, I'll have to look it up and put it on the screen. I forget his name. He glommed onto a lot of popular character names. So he had Captain Marvel and, I forget what else he had. But he used those names hoping to play off any lingering nostalgia in the industry. And it wasn't like today where, things are remembered for 10 and 20 or 30 years. Between 1954 and 1966, Captain Marvel was pretty well forgotten in the marketplace. So he swiped the name, and this character, he's basically Arm Fall Off Boy, if you know that member of the Legion of Superheroes. Instead of yelling Shazam and a little boy turning into an adult with superpowers, this Captain Marvel yelled Split, and he was an android. He yelled Split, and his arms and legs would fly off. The goofiest powers ever. This only lasted, I think, maybe 4 issues or so, something like that. And so that folded. And then it wasn't too much later that Marvel was like, well, because, of course, by 1966, Marvel was a big thing. And they're like, well, we don't want maybe DC or somebody else glomming onto that name. We'll come out with a Captain Marvel of our own so that we can secure, copyright and trademark to that name. So anyway, that's the story on that. Spider-Man Silver Edition still in the poly bag. Web of Spider-Man #1. That one's in pretty good condition. Wolverine #1, the second series. Back to some Uncanny X-Men books. There's 108. 137, The Death of Phoenix. 139, my teenage platonic crush, Kitty Pryde. Daredevil, #50. 184. That was a big jump. 180. This is smack in the Frank Miller Golden Age. 181, Death of Elektra. Here's another Incredible Hulk 377. We've seen this in other unboxing videos recently. First appearance of Professor Hulk. Oh, Spider-Man 33. This is the famous story where, and this is all credited to Steve Ditko and how well and powerfully he told the story with Spider-Man just finally 33 issues in, really proving his heroic character and against all odds breaking free of this, predicament that he was in so that he could help others. Truly became a superhero that day. What else we got here? Daredevil #4. First appearance of the Purple Man. That's a cool book. Batman. I always see this one sorted out as a single, but it really doesn't go for that much. That is, I believe, the first official appearance of Jason Todd as Robin, where he finally takes over the role. He had appeared in the Robin costume earlier. Finally took over the role in that issue. Here's X-Men 56. Great issue where they incorporate the logo, which was, fairly uncommon in those days. That's just a random bag and board with nothing in it. Astonishing Tales, first appearance, I believe, of Deathlock. Deathlock the Demolisher. 130, some Dazzler action. Did she first appear on 129? Or is 130 her first appearance? Maybe she had a cameo in 129. I can't really remember. X Factor 6, First Apocalypse. Wolverine 10, popular issue because of the Sabretooth fight. But because of all this white and the paper stock of the cover, it's a fairly hard to find that book in really high grade. Here is the Wolverine miniseries. 2, 3, and 4. This is dumb. Sorry, I'm commenting on this next stack I'm about to pull out. Sleepwalker #1. Now, I wouldn't think that book is going to do well enough that it should be sold as a single. But that's how the boss has sorted it, so I will, by all means, abide by that decision and see how it does. But my prediction is that's probably going to be like a $3 or $4 book. What do you think? What would you pay for that? We like to, all of our singles draw at least $10, because you sell them for much less than 5 or 6, and you actually end up losing money when it takes, you consider the time it takes to, initially process the book when it first comes in as part of a collection and is sorted out, and then the labor cost of me grading the book, and then the person that I hand it off to who creates the listing, and then the people who actually ship the book. A fair amount of labor in getting you a comic book when you win one from us on eBay. And unless it sells for like, $5, $6, $7, we're kind of losing money. So we like all of our singles to sell for at least $10. I don't think that's going to draw $10. What do you think? Would you pay $10 for Sleepwalker #1? We'll see. We'll see how it does. I would pay $10 for this, Alf #1. I already have this, but mine is not in as nice a condition, I don't think. I got mine secondhand. Love me some Alf, though. Some alien life form. Of course, I live in Maine. You probably know that. And we get a lot of Canadian tourists down to Old Orchard Beach. And we always talk about the Canucks. And there he is, the Canadian superhero, Captain Canuck. Well, what do you think about that, eh? Dark Horse presents Aliens is probably why this is sorted out as a single. I don't know Aliens enough to know if that's the first comic book appearance of Aliens or not. There's 34. Some more Aliens. I don't think this book is valuable because of Race of Scorpions or Zone. Dark Horse presents 35. And this is Predator. So is that the first Predator? Again, I don't actually know. I don't know everything, believe it or not. Dark Horse 36. This is Aliens versus Predators. So that's probably the first of that. And we got 2 of them. More Aliens versus Predator, 36. Ha! Look at this. Personality Comics. So that's a biography of Michael Jordan. And it's in nice condition. Usually when we see these, because these sold more to non-comic book fans, or at least, the ones who are not as obsessive about keeping their books in strictly mint condition. You don't always see these in real high grade. There's another USAGI #2. That's interesting. We got 2 2s. There's a 5. 9. We've seen a couple of 9s already. X-Men 244. That is the first Jubilee, I believe. The classic Detective Comic story, Sign of the Joker, the Steve Englehart Marshall Rogers run. And I think that whole run exists in a trade paperback. So if you can't afford to track down the original issues, and I mean, that'll probably go for $30 or $40, depending on how I end up grading it. Or not how I grade it, but what the grade is. But if you can, if you can't afford to get the original issues, I would recommend highly getting the trade paperback. I believe that's still in print, and that's a classic run, an all-time classic run of Batman. What else we got here? Submariner 17. Punisher number 1, that is the first ongoing series, the second overall. Detective Comics 608 from, what is that, probably 1988? 88, 89. There's a brief period here where they changed over how they did the cover dates from being 3 months ahead to I think like just 1 month ahead of the actual release date. So those books late 88, early 89 don't actually have a cover date on them. These days, no comics have a cover date on them. But back then you certainly did. And this is the first appearance of Anarchy. Transformers number 1. We've seen a couple of those recently in other boxes that we have opened. There's another Dark Horse Presents 34. And another 35. And another 36. And another X-Force 24. Daredevil 254. Well, there's something different. Or at least different than what we've been looking at. That's the first appearance of Typhoid Mary. So that's exciting. $2.99. Some early Todd McFarlane on Spider-Man. $2.98. Infinity Gauntlet number 1. And there's another, well, we've seen both of these books recently. Uncanny X-Men 221 and Wolverine number 1. All right. This next pack is the last of this box. G.I. Joe 21. I don't know if that's the first appearance of Snake Eyes or just a spotlight on old Snake Eyes. But it is the most unusual G.I. Joe story ever. Ever. Has a 301 of Spidey. 256 first Puma. What is the note here? Why are these all together? Oh, interesting. I would have missed that if not for the note. These are Canadian price variants. That's what it says. So 75 cents. So what were those books actually? 65? Yeah, I know the Power Pack is $1. So the Canadian price variant is $1.25. Cool. I don't know that Canadian price variants do. They don't do as well as the 30 and 35 cent price variants from the 70s. That is Spider-Man 36. So depending on how old you are, you may not remember. It's really, it's just so strange to me because it seems like it was just yesterday. But 9/11. The day the Twin Towers fell, there are kids today who, they're 19, 20 years old who were born after that happened. It just doesn't seem like it was that long ago. But anyway, this was sort of the memoriam issue for that, and that's the reason for the black cover on the Amazing Spider-Man 36, the Volume 2 renumbering. So that's what that's all about. And because of the black cover, it's hard to find in super high grade. Wolverine number 1 also is a hard book to get in really high grade just because the black on the back cover. Ghost Rider 2, we've seen one of those recently in a recent video. Defenders number 4. Now we've seen recently some Avengers, I'm trying to remember the issue number, 83. Where I told you that was the first appearance of Valkyrie, except it wasn't really Valkyrie, it was the Enchantress in disguise. Well, this is the first, then, honest-to-goodness Valkyrie, where it's actually her. So there you go. Defenders number 4. And we were also talking recently about the Cat and Greer Garson, who I believe became Tigra, and then Patsy Walker took over this costume and became Hellcat. Well, there is one of the Cat series. And that series only lasted about 4 issues. So to be canceled at issue 4 at this time, sales in that first issue must have been just terrible. I don't know. Here's number 3. And it feels like there's 2 books in there. Oh, turn it over. There's number 4. So we've got all but number 1. Now I wonder if this collection did not have number 1, or did we send number 1 off to CGC? Don't know. That's a Daredevil villain, the Man-Bull. Captain Marvel. This is some Jim Starlin Thanos action. So that's it. And see, now I've told you about the weird bags we get. I guess that's an actual comic bag, but opening those books is a pain in the ass. Oh, actually, flip it over. There's a 27 with Star Fox. There's 30 and 29. It's kind of an iconic cover. Conan, number 24. Now, is that the first Red Sonja? I don't think it is. I pronounced that Sonja as a kid. I didn't know the J was silent or pronounced kind of like a Y. So I grew up as a kid calling her Red Sonja. And in my mind, I still say it that way sometimes. I have to force myself to say Sonja. You might have heard me pause before I first read it there, just making sure I said it right. There's Captain Marvel 26. I always loved this Captain Marvel costume. 25. Marvel. Dave the Android Man, number 24. Now do you know what this book is? Adventures into Fear. And I believe the actual title is just Fear. It is. See there on the indicia, it's just Fear. With Man-Thing. But the important thing about this book, issue number 19, this is the first appearance of Howard the Duck. See him right there? And he looks a little different. A little different. It would take a little bit to kind of glom on to the actual definitive look. Let me see if I can find the first panel for you. I saw him there on a later page. But I do think he gets a full-size splash here. Thought he did anyway. Not a lot of Man-Thing in this Man-Thing book. There he is. That's the first panel. The first appearance of Howard the Duck. And you can see they've got him colored a little orange there as well. So it would take a little while to get Howard's exact look down. But he really only appears in very little in this book. 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 panels. But nonetheless, it is not considered a cameo. It's considered his first actual appearance. And there he is, Conan the Barbarian, number 23. And that's it. That's everything that was in that box. So I hope you enjoyed reviewing those with me. I had fun anyway. So, if there's anything there that you would like to see, how I actually grade that, let me know. Either, reach out on the Twitter or by email or in the comments section below. Let me know. I'll be happy to set that book aside and make it part of a grading video. If you're like, ooh, I definitely want to bid on that book, or at least, keep an eye on it and see what it does sell for. Again, the seller name on eBay is Dotcomcomics, and it's usually about a week or two after I unpack these books and start grading them before you'll see them actually show up on eBay. But until the next video, until the next go around, all I can say is goodbye, good luck, and please be good to each other.